So I'm still here, just. Yesterday was quite trying. I'd had a very short night. Mark had had a patchy night. And as you saw, we were driving to the rheumatology appointment, which I hadn't been looking forward to, which I may have mentioned. It wasn't too bad. What happens is the fantasy of it, and thinking about how I struggle to understand her when she's not wearing a mask, and knowing that she'd be wearing a mask was going to be a bit of a barrier. I think I managed quite well. She took a bit more time this time. She was less distracted than she was last time, and actually looked properly at my hands, and looked at my right hand, and said that it's deformed, which I hadn't really noticed, but I can sort of see it. But it's deformed around where the thumb joins the hand. So she was quite surprised by my assertive first paragraph in my letter that said that I won't be reducing anymore in the next 6 months, my steroid intake. But she laughed. I think she quite liked it that I said, sort of put my needs first rather than tried to please her. So she's going to keep me on the same treatment for the next 6 months, see how I am. Has given me a prescription for a thermo thumb support glove to wear at night, and that would have, having done a bit of a search yesterday, that would have entailed me going into Poitiers. I know Châtellerault actually was the place, so it would have entailed me going back there with an appointment to be fitted for a glove that, in amongst everything else that we're doing. And but I found one online, so I paid for it and ordered it, measured my hand, and then made sure I ordered the right size. But you heat it up to a certain temperature, and then you put it on whilst it's warm, and it molds to your shape or whatever. I don't know. We'll see how I get on with that. She also gave me a prescription for physio, and that's worked out quite well. I looked to try and book it online when we were here yesterday afternoon before going back for physio, and I wouldn't have been able to get an appointment until the 12th of January because it would have been a first appointment. But when I went in yesterday with Mark for his physio and asked her about it, she's piggybacked me onto his appointment because she's got a student working with her, so they can either take it in turns to work with me, or she can set the student off with me, or whatever. So I can have the same appointment as Mark, which is really, really handy. So I have my first physio appointment for my hand tomorrow. And depending on how well I am in 6 months' time, she may change my medication. She may take me off the methotrexate and put me on something called a biologic, which may or may not work. I don't know. So yeah, it was a good appointment, but tiring going backwards and forwards. And then we got back and had a quick lunch, and then had a siesta, and then went off again for physio, and he did the driving all the way back, backwards and forwards. So it was tiring, and we didn't watch West Wing last night. I said, I can't, I'm too tired, I won't be able to concentrate on that. So I went to bed by 10 o'clock and more or less slept all night. I was awake at 4, nearly getting up, and then I thought, no, I'm not going to get up. I went into the bathroom and I could see the time on the towel rail. So I came back to bed and laid there probably for quite a long time, and then went back to sleep. And then when the alarm went off at 8:30, didn't want to be awake. So I think I've had a reasonable sleep. What else? It's wet, it's windy. You've had snow in the UK. It's been snow in Lincolnshire, I've seen. I don't know where else it's been, but I know my son had snow overnight and this morning. I joined Blue Sky, which I mentioned, and I'm a bit addicted to that at the moment. It's fascinating, and of course there's people coming along all the time that I used to follow on Twitter, so I follow them, and I've watched a bit of what's going on with the Orange Man. I think Elon Musk is pissing everybody off because he won't go away. It's like a smell that doesn't go away. And he bought the election, so he thinks that he's entitled to be where he wants to be. And every picture I've seen of Trump, there's a couple of pictures I've seen of Trump in profile with Musk, and you can see straight through the very thin hair to what would be the bald and then the hair. So he's got, he's bald from here backwards. It really shows in these pictures, and I don't know whether that's deliberate, whether it's been photoshopped, how happy he feels about it. But that man's going to have to change his hairstyle soon. He can't, unless he has hair extensions or implants or whatever. He can't go on like that, surely. So I saw a bit of fallout from, I can't remember now, and I couldn't find it when I was talking to Vicky about it. But he's already said, no, I don't want you after all. You're not going to do it. And I can't remember why now. But he's already kicked somebody into touch. And that's just going to go on, and they'll never reach that part of a group, being in a group where you get to the part where you're norming and performing. They'll never reach that part. And by the time he reaches Inauguration Day, the group that he has around him now probably will be completely different. So that's the comical side of it. There's a horrifying side of it, which actually in my waking hours last night was something that was worrying me. And I know I don't live in America, but it does have an impact on all of us. And that is his dismantling of the military, the generals and the defence part of government. It's so dangerous, so destabilising, and I really worry for you in America with that. There's a story in some of the newspapers about a Russian, and it's not a ballerina, is it? If it's a man, is it called a ballerina when it's a man? I'm just going to tell you his name. Russian ballet dancer who criticised Putin's invasion of Ukraine, falls 60 foot to his death. It's not telling me his name. But yeah, that keeps happening. It's not unusual in Russia for opponents of Putin to fall to their death. I wonder whether that will start happening in America. So I have been watching that and looking at that because obviously I'm seeing that on Blue Sky. I think that's it. I think that's a catch up. Lots of comments and I haven't got to them. I might over the weekend sort of go through and at least let you know I have read them. I have read them and I do read them. And what did you say, Linda? She's volunteered to drive a slurry truck to London. I don't believe you. But that's funny. I noticed people taking the piss out of Jeremy Clarkson and Nigel Farage and one other at the farmers' dispute, the farmers' demonstration in London. They really are up themselves, aren't they? They're the ones that are going to be impacted. The farmers, the rich farmers, not the everyday farmers, won't be so impacted by the inheritance tax. It's the rich farmers, which is why there's such a furor about it. Fury, whatever. Who else? Oh, the joke that Mark told at the end of the travel vlog. The travel vlog was not quite as good as it is when we first heard it. I sort of sprung it on him a bit and he had to put it together. It's a bit longer than that. And I'm going to stop because I've got a call coming in. And we're back in the room. What was I doing? I was going through comments, wasn't I? Yeah, I think Oh, Diane, you asked how do you heat the upstairs? The wood burner is the only main form of heating we've got, and it is very powerful. Too powerful for just this room. Oh, excuse me, that was my cup of tea. Too powerful for this room, but we have the doors open and the heat goes through to Mark's room, and there's a big opening there to out into the hallway and up the mezzanine, which has got curtains, so I can either have the curtains across or the curtains open, and if I open the curtains, let some of the heat upstairs. Our bedroom is over this room, and the chimney goes up through our bedroom. And before we had the ceilings done, there was a lot of heat that you could feel. The floorboards in the bedroom were warm, and the chimney breast was warm until Mark put in a big baffle plate to keep heat down rather than lose heat. So the chimney breast gets a little warm up there. And this winter, for the first time, we have a heated towel rail in the bathroom. But other than that, there's no heating upstairs. Mark's got a plug-in portable radiator in his room. I've got one behind me that I can turn on if I want it on the days that we don't have the firelight. We've got a gas heater, the portable mobile gas heater that we can use when we're not lighting the fire. But so that the house doesn't have heating all over. And I prefer that. I don't like having heat upstairs. Quite happy to eat, live or sleep in a bedroom that isn't heated. In fact, last night, the weather's got a bit milder, so last night I opened up the shutters and opened the window a bit as well last night to let air in. So yeah, that's how we heat, not heat. It is the only source of heat apart from some of the mobile things that we have that we can use. That answers that. Linda, you talk about hoping myself and my sister would come to some sort of agreement. I don't want to. I don't want to. For me, it's like when somebody has had a go at you in that way, and people have done that over the years for various things. I don't go back for more. I let go, because I think that I don't want to be in a relationship with someone that feels that way about me. And I know she's my sister, but she's the second sister who has disappeared into the ether, and I can cope with that. It's easier for me, and I don't care. Okay, she's my sister. That's the way it is, and I'm really sorry that she couldn't overlook how I feel about Trump. It's up to her. So yeah, I'm not going to do anything about that. So don't hold your breath. Kathy, you spoke to your granddaughter about what's coming. I hope she's able to do what she needs to do. I hope you're all able to protect yourselves, find ways to support yourselves, and there's some comedy in what we're looking at the moment, but it's not funny. It isn't funny, and I think there's going to be shock and awe. There's somebody I shared on Blue Sky called Carol, if I say the name, you'll think I'm making it up. Cadwallader. She writes for Carol Cadwallader. Writes for The Guardian. And she has written something called I urge you to read my 20 lessons in how to survive the Broligarchy, which is brothers, bro, or it's very good. I'll put a link in this video to it. It's very good It's very good reading, but they're talking about shock and awe. Another good thing to read about this type of thing is The Shock Doctrine, written by, God, I can't remember her name either now. It's about what governments do Naomi Klein, during a period of, after during a period of crisis. It's called The Shock Doctrine, The Rise of Disaster Capitalism. Now, she and we read that. It was published in 2007 and we read it back then, but it sort of talks about how governments use crises to get things under the radar, and all those people make money out of it. Of course, a lot of people have been making money in the last, where are we? What's the date today? It's the 19th. So what was it? It was the 6th, wasn't it? So just less than 2 weeks after the election. Lots of people made money on the back of Trump winning, and lots of people are still making money, and that's what happens. And the people that aren't making the money are the people that need it, the poor people, all the people that think that they're going to be taken care of by Trump. So that's another thing worth reading if that interests you. It was not easy reading, it was heavy going. I think I probably got about halfway through. It says, what is the Shock Doctrine concept? It's a scathing critic of neoliberalism, particularly of Milton Friedman's Chicago School of Economics. The book examined what Klein termed as disaster capitalism, a form of extreme capitalism that advocates privatization and deregulation in the wake of war or natural catastrophe. I can't say it because the French word is what comes to me. Catastrophe. It is funny when the French word comes first and I can't then say the English word. So there we are. That's what's going on. I hope you're all well, and thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. What's the subscribe account now? It's at 2858. Quite a way off 3,000. What was it in the last 7 days? So +1 in the last 7 days, but the arrow's pointing down. So I've obviously gained 1, but lost 1 or 2 or whatever. I don't know. It depends, I think, on what's going on. Yeah, so that's it. And I was looking at the colour of my hair and thinking it's what my mother would have called brassy. And it didn't look like that when I came out of the hairdresser, so I don't know what's going on. I might ask Jen, see what she thinks, but I keep looking at it thinking it looks like it's lost some of the colour. And my hair does that if I'm not, it needs to be well bleached to hold the colour. Anyway, I'm doing a Trump now. Oh, looking at my hair. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.